Hello, everyone. It's another Bifrost AMA, and we're doing this one with Subsocial, and we got Young Beef from Subsocial, and we also have Alex will be joining us in just a bit. We'll go ahead and kick this off, and so Beef, do you want to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are? I mean, a lot of people know you, I think, through the community, so very active.
Yeah, I'm Zachary, aka Young Beef. I'm the content lead and community manager at Subsocial. Write all of our announcements, do the community stuff, and I'm starting to pivot more into a business development role. So I'll be working with other projects, especially once we get launched as a parachain. Get a bunch of integrations set up with the different parachains, so we can really get that cool functionality that the parachains allow us to have.
Perfect. Awesome. We see, I think Alex has just joined us. Let me grab him real quick. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. Let me see if I can see him here. Let's see. I don't see him in here, but we'll see if he. I'm not sure if I'm missing him. Oh, there he is. Got it. Okay. Let me add Alex real quick. Okay, should be coming on screen in a second. Alex, how you doing?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Too many calls.
Yeah, no, I get it. I know you guys are super busy, especially, with your Crowdloan going on right now. So I just did a quick intro with Zachary, so if you want to give a quick intro on yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Simon. I'm founder of Subsocial Network. I'm a professional software developer. Finished university with a master's degree in computer science in 2008. And since that time, I have been working on developing scalable web applications for different startups and enterprises. And in 2017, with ICO rush, I thought like there's huge potential here in blockchain, and there are too many scammers, a lot of scammers. I need to show that there should be there could be built something real, normal, not scam. Yeah, so I thought that this is my mission, to build something working like a normal, real product, and fight with challenges and show that real stuff can be done on top of blockchain. And that's why we're doing this. Some people, even in blockchain, think that we're doing crazy stuff. Like, why not building yet another DeFi, DEX, swap, whatever? Yeah, we're building social networking. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's I think it's awesome. I love the idea of it. I have a friend. I was also computer science when I was in school, and worked with a really genius guy, and he went on to create a company called Blockstack. I'm sure you probably heard of him. Yeah, stacks in there. Anyway, he was talking all the time about the idea of how big that would be for social networking. Having an identity on, that on the blockchain. So I think what you guys are doing is just tremendously awesome. So
it's not only about identity, it's about your user base, follower base, it's about social graph. Like, people just start thinking from this small part, like from left, and we're expanding. But at this very moment, I think that we're building a decentralized open social graph that should be. Like, remember when Facebook opened the API and they said like, it's open graph. No, it's not open. It's closed source proprietary graph where we provided our values, and they put them into the golden cage of the nice UI services and all this stuff. And then they found that it's very powerful, and then started to reduce on access and the limitations and all this stuff. But in our case, it's truly open, decentralized social graph.
Yeah, and I love the idea of attacking Medium too. I mean, I think that's another one that is really cool, to own your own content and stuff through. Because when you post this stuff, I think that's really something cool that you guys are doing. That's when you do post things, you own that content. You worked hard on that content. Why should they own it? So yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, definitely. Do you guys want to tell us how you guys got started? Kind of maybe kind of the journey and how you guys met too? Because I think the community organization of these projects, especially on Kusama is just so huge, and I think you guys are, in my opinion, you guys are doing it right. So, yeah, do you guys want to tell me a little bit how you guys got paired up and how this has taken off?
Sure. Long story short, I started exploring Substrate in early 2019 when I saw Gavin Wood unpackaging new MacBook Pro and running blockchain in 30 minutes. Yeah, it was very inspiring to me, and I thought like, okay, now I can build something real on this framework. So because I started to look for a framework on which I could build DApp specific blockchain, right? So this term was coined by Tendermint Cosmos team, I believe. And in 2018 I found that, and then in 2019 I found that with Substrate you can upgrade your chain without forks, and this is what I have been looking for, because as a startupper I always looking for something where I could iterate and upgrade and not just try to think like 5-10 years ahead, and because it will slow down the process. But now with Substrate we can afford not very super smart decisions in the first place, but smart enough to start testing it, right? And this is why we love Substrate. And then I visited, I participated and presented with the presentations on first and second Substrate offline conferences in Berlin. So on the first, I made friends with lots of people from Parity, Web3 Foundation, and ecosystem, and then I applied for grant for Subsocial somewhere around summer 2019. And on the second conference, it was like December something, 2018. I demonstrated what we have with Subsocial. Then 2020, I applied for the second grant. So we successfully delivered two grants for Subsocial to Web3 Foundation, including 5 milestones, and majority of the functionality is already in production, working like a charm, and we added tons of stuff on top of it. And in terms of community, like for 2 years, I have been doing it solely, like 99% I did myself. I was about to die, so my God, it was so hard. Yeah, and then Biff reached out to me, and you can continue from this point, Biff.
Yeah, so actually a friend sent me a tweet that the Subsocial account had posted that they were looking for a technical documentation writer, which I'm not qualified for at all, but I reached out anyways. And then one thing led to another, and then I ended up in this role. And it's been pretty fun. I definitely value community very highly. I think we can look at a lot of other projects. Dogecoin's probably the number one that comes to mind, where community is like very important for blockchain. And like a token in general, and especially for the project that we're building with, social networking platform, it's all about community in the first place. So I think having a very strong community that's loyal is very important. So we do our best to communicate well and take care of the community.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I agree. I get that feeling from you guys. It is community based, and I think that's a huge deal. Especially, I saw your article the other day about your tokenomics. You guys are being very generous with the community, which I think is, that's what happened with Moonbeam and Moonriver. They were very generous with the community, very engaged, and look at their success. They've been killing it. So yeah, definitely. So cool, awesome. And then also too, when you guys, I guess let me go ahead and get in there. So back to Substrate, I just want to touch on that a little bit because I think that's a huge deal. I know you were talking about it, Alex. So did you say have you done any other blockchain development before? Have you tried with on Ethereum? Why did you guys pick Substrate over Solidity or working on other platforms?
Yeah, so like in 2017, I started doing Solidity smart contract stuff, and I've been working on it for like around 1 year, and then I started looking for frameworks to build blockchain because I found how Solidity is quite limited, and then I found like a Cosmos Tendermint thing, and it was quite interesting, but I think they were quite overloaded at the time, and I needed much more support about like what do this and that, and like help with some with my progress, and they were quite busy, so I lacked the support from them. So I continued looking, and then I found the Substrate, and community support was much greater. And of course, they had this 4-class upgrade, so it's super crazy. I know that right now at Cosmos there is a way to upgrade the chain via orchestrated fork, and they have some cool tools, and they say that it works quite good. But I didn't have time, and I don't think that I need it right now to check it again. But at that moment, like in 2018, it wasn't there yet. That's why I was continuing looking for something, and that's why I found Substrate. But since that time, I'm quite happy with that, because Substrate is built as strong language, respectable Rust, so it's a very big deal. And Solidity is not a language; it's like a joke,
I know. I'm a big Rust fan. I like the type safe. I like the type safe language. I'm a big Rust fan. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't understand is that like it's funny because it's partially. I think you're right. I think there is such a strong community around Kusama Polkadot, which I think is awesome. But then also too, the framework I think is going to help people just innovate so much more. I mean, it's almost like trying to build a website nowadays without a modern framework. You're starting from scratch all the time. You're not doing things the best proper way. And then on top of too, we also get this great inherent security, I think, building on top of Polkadot and Kusama. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What is cool about Rust is, for example, I believe you can write the code in this way that, for example, you could have code that is used in a blockchain and in off-chain, I mean, outside of blockchain, like on backend API service, and it could be the same or very same code. And you could, for example, upload this code into blockchain, and then blockchain will use this code in their native modules. And then the same code could be used on off-chain, like API backend. And we are planning to do this to introduce off-chain posting, for example. So let's say we could have the same code for adding follow, comment, right? And then this code could be the same or almost the same in blockchain. But in blockchain, there will be context of blockchain and storage. And storage, like read and write functions, would rely on blockchain stuff. But the same code in outside of blockchain, like in off-chain API service, it could rely on database layer. So it could be like done via context. So we don't have this yet, but I have this very interesting idea. And with Rust, I believe this is totally possible. But with Solidity, no way at all. No way.
I know. It's so much to build on top of Solidity, and then you have to build everything from scratch, and you don't get, a lot of times people don't understand. You don't care about the storage. Well, you know what? Use the default storage palette. If you want to later on decide I want to customize it out, rip it out and write it out, you don't have to. It's pretty cool. So definitely. So yeah, back to the project wise, you guys have this sub token, and do you want to talk much about that? I know some people have asked about that too in the past, so want to know all about the sub token and its utility.
Please, Zach.
Yeah, so it's definitely a utility token. The main utility will be using transactions on the network, of course. We are looking into some options on how to have some type of free transactions, because people are used to social networks being free to use, quote unquote. So we may do something like you can stake sub and you'll get a certain number of free transactions every day or something like that. And then they'll also be used for, we're having ingrained monetization features like tipping. We can add like subscriptions, pay-per-view, stuff like that. So tipping would most likely mainly be used with the sub token. We're also planning to have some type of social tokens, and we're thinking that you'll probably lock up sub tokens in order to mint those social tokens as well. So it's sort of like a quasi-deflationary mechanism there.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think that's going to be super powerful. I know that people, it incentivizes people to build content so much more when you have these kind of mechanisms. So that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and do you guys want to have any talk about impact and like implications of monetizing a social token and why hasn't it been done by others? Why haven't other people really done this?
Yes, actually, there are a couple of projects doing something like that.
Mhm.
like role rally, something like this, and some of them are connected with like people from Twitch or something. But yeah, I believe the biggest issue is that they're building this on Ethereum, and yeah, like in our case, we can have much more performance and more possible coolest features on top of this. And plus, again, like everyone is busy with DeFi and NFTs, and even if social tokens could be considered quite interesting idea, sometimes I notice that people just tend to something that works here and now because they don't want to risk too much. Like for example, in our case, they could be like in parallel universe. Maybe I have been doing DeFi just to be more secure, something like that, right? But I think that social tokens will be there, decentralized social network can be there, and if we will not do it, someone will do it. And I believe that like social tokens, social network, and social fi could take off next year, for example, right? Like in 1.5 year, because I mean I see that we are quite have lots of functionality, and plus, let's say right now we are building a mobile app. It's quite ready. It's quite ready. We polishing it. We finishing like post editor to support some formatting and all this stuff, and we need to ensure that everything works properly. And but like it's like the last mile. And once we finish it, user experience will be much better. People will be able to use from mobile. They will not see this annoying confirmation pop-ups about transactions. So user experience will explode. And then we are already planning that we are going to work on offline, off-chain posting. So this will be a great step to user experience improvements as well. So for off-chain posting, you will not be required to spend a sub. You will not be required to see this confirmation model. So everything will improve, right? Yeah. Plus, we're working on 3 web example applications and 2 mobile example applications in major, most popular framework like React, Angular, Vue for web, and React Native and Flutter for mobile. So imagine we are open sourcing these 5 example applications and start organizing hackathons and grant programs, sponsoring it from Treasury. It will be a huge deal. Like people can get it and grab them and build whatever they need, any crazy social experiments, and nobody is gonna like stop them from this. Like nobody can. Like with Facebook, Twitter, someday Facebook can look at some competing applications. Like they say, like, what are you thinking about? Go off, right? They're limiting access. With Subsocial, it's not possible unless there will be not friendly console members, and I don't know. But I hope we will have a bright future.
Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, what was the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, what do you think about this, like from your point?
About what?
About the Subsocial, about the whole idea about the basically like monetizing the social token and all that, and so like bringing that on, and and I know Alex was talking about moving off chain. I think that's a pretty cool thing. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely think the social tokens will be big. We've already seen a couple other projects take off, like BitClout, and I think they recently raised some absurd number, like $200 million or something. And then there's also Rally that's doing something similar. Yeah. And I think that whole concept will really take off with like Twitch streamers, musicians, artists, all that type of stuff, because people love being involved in communities. So I think we can do some really cool stuff with that.
Awesome. Yeah. I think that's really cool. I think that's a big deal. I think in the sense just growing things out and everything. But yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I see one interesting question in chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, last one. Can you read that out loud?
Yeah. It looks like I know. I just saw that. Yeah, it looks almost like that it's related to this. So yeah, so inappropriate content appearing in your uncensored network. Could your team be liable? How are you guys going to handle that? Do you guys have any type of because sometimes, I mean, everybody thinks of censoring, I think, is a bad thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing too. but it's such a balancing line. It's such a tough thing. And I know you guys are decentralized, so you want to have the freedom at the same time. Like I think he's talking about, you may not want that in your, you may not want some of these things in your network. So how are you guys approaching this?
Yeah, so the thing is that there are several ingredients here. First is that we don't store content on blockchain. We store just CIDs, content identifiers, to content that is stored externally in IPFS. So it's first thing. And people can post any CIDs, and this is not blockchain responsibility to try to analyze what is inside of this file by this CID. It's too much for blockchain. Blockchain just more like a linked append only log kind of database, just distributed and all this stuff. It is not smart. I mean, it's not an ML algorithm. So it's first thing. Second is that again, it's based on CIDs, so anyone can put any CID and all this stuff. But again, people don't go into blockchain directly. They're not looking on bytes, right? People look at some user-friendly blockchain explorer, and in our case, Subsocial app, it's one of the examples of how user interface could be. It's not the final and the only one. Like with Twitter, there should be only one official user interface on web, on mobile, and that's it. Any competitors will have hard time if Twitter doesn't like, and Facebook the same. But in our case, we are more like Linux with different distributives, and people are encouraged to build alternative UIs. That's it, right? Like with NFTs, if you look at NFTs as a protocol on Ethereum and even cross-chain on Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Kusama, whatever, right? So all these marketplaces, they're already alternatives to each other. And some people prefer this user interface, some people another user interface, and totally fine. Everyone is happy, healthy competition and all this stuff, right? Totally the same is applicable to Subsocial, totally. And what does it mean? Is that on UI, you can build it either on block list or on allo list, or it could be unfiltered. So for example, we could launch a user interface that is focused solely on Kusama projects, like only curated list of projects, normal projects that are not scams, that are producing some updates, friendly with the follower base, community, and all this stuff. For example, right now, we have something like this. We need to improve it, but we already started something like that. So for example, we have there like about 300 spaces related to just .sama and or employees like of Web3 Foundation, Parity, etc. And there are very low chances that something wrong will be posted there because we curating this list. If something strange will be started posting from one person or some space, we will remove it. That's it. We will remove it on UI. They can continue use blockchain and show on their side, but we will just don't show it on UI. It's not censoring. It's moderating your end user interface, and such as there could be endless number of user interfaces. I cannot even say that this is censoring. It's strictly it's moderation. That's it. Like when somebody goes to your home and says that you're a bad guy, would you say like, yeah, come back tomorrow, day after, and 1 week later, come every day and say that I'm bad? I'm so enjoying.
That makes total sense.
No, you will not be.
You're at the concert. You're at the concert. You're out of control. You're drunk or something like that. You get kicked out. You're not kicked out of your home and everywhere else. You're kicked out of that place. Maybe you're banned from the concert. You'll never get to come to that venue again. But yeah, that makes total sense. I think that's a great way to
if you compare this to Twitter, for example, such as with Twitter, we don't have this alternative user interfaces. So if you're blocked on Twitter official user interface, you kind of blocked on Twitter totally, and then it's censoring. If they blocked you, you don't have access to your follower base. But on Facebook, on Subsocial, if even we block you on Subsocial web app, it's just one of the apps that could be there. People can run their alternative. It's one thing, and plus we are not restricting you from follower base. Your follower base will be there, and it's accessible and just access it from another UI. That's it. Easy.
That's great. That's great. Not trying to play God, which is nice.
I mean, I think it's basically like just how it is today, where it's like illegal content. If someone wants to host it, then they have to do 3 things. They have to pretty much run their own IPFS node to store it, make their own space on the Subsocial blockchain, and make their own front-end website, which is basically how it is today, except for the blockchain part. So if it is like illegal content, then the servers that are hosting the content and the front end are somewhere, and the local authorities would take care of that just like they do today.
Yep, that makes total sense. I love it. Love it. Awesome. So, talking about how can other like .sama projects, like Bifrost, benefit from Subsocial building? So, how are some of these other projects going to benefit from the growth of Subsocial? You guys are doing.
Yeah, we put out a blog post sometime last week, I think, before we launched our Crowdloan about why we were going for a parachain slot, and the bulk of it was talking about the integrations that being a parachain will allow us. So there's a whole list of a couple that I came up with, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more cool stuff in the future that I can't even think of yet, especially as we get more parachains. But a couple are, like right now, as far as on-chain governance, there's not really a good communication platform for it. I know Polkadot and Kusama use Polk Assembly, and I think Basilisk uses Commonwealth, and they've talked to us about having a couple of problems with that as well. So we've had the idea to sort of become like the de facto communications platform for governance, which Gavin Wood has mentioned that before.
Yeah.
But not just for Polkadot and Kusama, but we could do it for any other parachain as well, or really any standalone chain, I think. So we could build like a specific governance location for it, and you could have all these social features ingrained, and it would already be tied to your account, sort of like we have on Polk Assembly.
Awesome. Yeah. Are you guys planning on Are you guys planning on staying on Kusama, or are you guys going to have another network? Or are you on Polkadot? Are you guys going to migrate from Kusama? Are you guys just not? Do you guys have anything like that planned out, or how you guys want to attack that?
Yeah, we don't really have any plans yet. I will have to see in the future. We
may
may do something like.
Yeah.
So
is that up?
Yeah, what were you going to say, Alex?
Yeah, I wanted to say that plans can be changed over the weekend after the call with Chantabris, for example, like it was last time. Yeah, so for example, we haven't planning to launch just, we haven't thinking between solo chain because it's maximum performance right now, and parachain because it is about integrations and all this exposure to other cool stuff from other blockchains, right? And we thought like, should we go with salt chain? Should we go with parachain? Should we go with WOS? And then like, okay, let's go just with parachain. And then about launching this Crowdloan campaign, we decided to talk with our advisor, Sean Tabrizi. And he said like, if you put the whole functionality that you have right now in a salt chain, it will be much slower on parachain because parachains has much more load in terms of all this communication with relay chain, and relay chain is super busy and all this stuff. So you want to have a more lightweight thing. And then you're like, okay, let's keep this solo chain. So it will be more focused on social networking as it is today. And let's build more finance stuff on parachain. And then it makes a lot of sense because with parachains, you not only get this inter-blockchain communication, but also you have this protection by security of relay chain, right? So you're under this market capitalization. So it makes a lot of sense for having the finance stuff on parachain and social networking that should be performance optimized on solid chain. So right now we're thinking in this direction. So we're thinking about having a bridge and the same token on both chains. But again, no promises, expect chaos and all the stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, it is chaos. It's great chaos. So awesome. And then what about the how does sub ID come into play with your overall framework? So
this is my lovely project. I love it a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah, we created sub ID very fast. Like we made it in 1 month, something like this. Like maybe less than 2 people work on this, and it was very fast, very to the point. We released it and iterated, like added tons of features on top. And only like for the last couple of weeks, we decided to slow down a little bit with it. I mean, in terms of new features, because we switched our focus to Crowdloan to make it polished and working properly with this Crowdloan form and banners and campaign integration here and there. But we have very, very great ideas for sub-ID. So currently, I would say that sub-ID is decentralized cross-chain portfolio explorer. So on sub-ID, you can see your assets like token balances, asset balances, NFTs across different chains from .sama ecosystem, from Polkadot and Kusama, from solo chains like Zor, Edgeware, right? And then from parachains, and also you can see your contributions to Crowdloans from Polkadot and Kusama and all that stuff. And we're going to improve the user experience. We're going to add a multi-account view. So you can, for example, lots of people contributing from different accounts to Crowdloans for different reasons to get more perks and bonuses later on. Yeah. And plus, sometimes you need this sub-accounts and all this stuff. So it definitely makes sense to show across account, multi-account balances and assets. And also we are planning to add support for lazy transfers. So for example, when you click on any account on another chain, you will see this kind of Uniswap-like menu from to this amount, and just click transfer, and it like wait a second, you have this connection, and then it's sent. We're planning to make it possible through Polkadot.js. So Polkadot.js will be responsible for managing your account addresses, private keys, and for sending transactions. Yeah, but everything is very, very lightweight. We keep connections on backend, so you don't need to wait for connection to every chain on UI. So it's slow, it's relatively fast, and we're going to add much more cool stuff to it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see all your contributions. I mean, I put my ID in, all my contributions. That was cool to see. So yeah, really great job there. Excuse me. Yeah. So what's your guys' strategy for the Crowdloan? I think you guys are poised really well. I just think, obviously this Crowdloan, I think you guys were late to get in this one in a way. I think you guys wanted to get your ducks in a row, which is awesome. So what's your guys' like attack plan here, and how have you guys kind of approached it so far?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely wanted to be competitive. It's sort of like a balancing act between not allocating too high because we wanted to save some for future crowd loans as well, but being competitive and rewarding the community as well. And there's also been a lot of crowd loans that are just really complicated. And I mean, some of them are good, like the Picasso one, but I know some people, like, we're still not even sure what the rewards are going to be. It's been like a month and a half. So we wanted to keep it really simple. Obviously, having a referral bonus is great for making noise and helping out your friends and all that. But other than that, it's pretty much just keep it simple. And yeah, I mean, it's not looking like we're going to win this time. But we'll probably either get auction 1 or 2 in the next round, depending on if Zeitgeist launches.
Yeah. I think it's you and Zeitgeist are my two top dogs right now. So I definitely want to see you guys definitely cross that finish line quick. So.
Yeah, so if you look at our contributions right now, for example, there is an interesting resource, subviz.io, like Subviz, right? Yeah. So you can go to Kusama and then switch to like Crowdloans, and then you click view on Subsocial and sort by, for example, highest price, right? And what you can see, it's like it's very diverse, and I see like quite relatively big amounts, like 100K and 200K sent from people, like a lot of them. And for example, in comparison, if you go to, let's say, like Sakura, and what else is there? And let's see, like Sherpa, they have like, Sherpa has like 5K KSM BAM just from one account. Sakura just 12,000 KSM BAM. And in our case, there is no big amounts, but like more diverse, lots of people participating. So I clearly see quite an interest from community in our case, comparing to this like Sherpa X, Sakura, and so if in our case, like quite big guys will come into play, I think like with 10, 15 such big guys, we can make history, right? So,
yeah, I think
but
I think above you, those guys have been running for a little while. To be fair to you, you guys just entered the race. Yeah, and I do encourage anyone on this call to read Zachary's post about about. I don't know if you can post it, if you have a handy, post that, because I do think people should read that. You guys are being extremely generous to the community, and I think it's definitely my favorite right now at the moment. So yeah, definitely, I think people need to look at that, because I think that'll really drive more people read that article. I think they'll understand why it's such a great thing to get behind, and also to look at the project itself.
Yeah, you're talking about the one about all the integrations.
Yeah, that and the tokenomics too. The tokenomics one, I think.
Yeah, Alex already posted the integrations one, but I'll post the other one.
Yeah, the tokenomics one, I think, is a really good one for people to read. I think people will understand why it's such a good one to get behind, why you guys are such a community-based project, which is cool. Cool, awesome. And then what about as far as working with Bifrost? So I want to get to their, what attracted you guys to work with Bifrost, and how's the process been so far? Has it been easy to integrate? So I did see the talk with you and Tyrone, so it's just awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that we didn't really have to do any code on our end. It's just something y'all needed to launch on your chain. It only took like 24 hours. And I wanted to do it because, people want to unlock their Crowdloan liquidity, basically.
Yes.
And it doesn't really cost us anything. So there wasn't really a reason not to do it. And I definitely wanted to get the ball rolling ahead of time so we could announce it as early as possible, because there's been a lot of other crowd loans where it's not announced until like a weekend of the crowd loan and everyone's already contributed, and it's like, oh, that sucks. So
yeah, I do encourage people to go through Bifrost, because you will get access to your liquidity quick, and you can also stake your liquidity right away and be earning extra on top of your liquidity. And like Zachary said, it's no cost to Subsocial, which is awesome too. You don't want it to cost the project, so it's a huge deal. Awesome, perfect, cool. And then last, maybe, do you guys want to talk about separation? I know a couple people asked, what separates you guys from? I know you kind of talked about it, but do you want to compare anything else you want to add about Subsocial as far as what leads it out as such a great project compared to other places or anything?
So, what is separation? What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe what put you guys up set you apart, I should say, or away from everything else? Like what? Anything else? Exciting you want to talk about with?
Are you talking about similar products, or like in general in blockchain?
Yeah, I think just in general against the other blockchain projects, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I see here quite an interesting question from the same guy, Jan Lei.
Yep.
Maybe if they post their account address, we can send some tips for good questions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, especially it would be cool if they share the Subsocial address or sub ID. So in terms of in general, comparing to blockchain projects, dApps, as I mentioned before, like today, tons of projects are focused like on DeFi, on NFTs, and just following hype. I mean, nothing wrong with that, of course, nothing wrong at all. We're also very friendly to NFTs and going to add more stuff to NFT, and we're supporting NFTs on sub ID, and in community we are in very good relationships with NFT artists. Yeah, and going to add DeFi features for social tokens. But like right now we are more focused on, at least we have been more focused on social networking stuff. That was not sexy for the last couple of years, and only now people like, interesting, maybe we can build some social networking. And we're like, yeah, you have been here like for a couple of years. Good morning.
It's awesome. It's something that's actually more, it is a useful feature, and there's more to blockchain than NFTs and DeFi. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So. But like answering to the question from Jan Lei is so about competitors. I mean, I would like to highlight, for example, like Steemit was one of the first players in the social networking stuff, and then something went wrong with Steemit when Tron came into the play. And they forked into Hive. So I just look from time to time what's happening there. They have like different products, wallets, and different types of applications. Quite interesting, but for me, it looks kind of isolated. And that's why, again, one of the reasons why we want to be part of Kusama.Sama ecosystem, because in this way we will not be isolated and we will be part of the game. And this is why Ethereum is very successful, because all the smart contracts, from one side, they're slow performant and all the stuff, but they are part of one big team work, right? And then in Dotsama, we can also have this teamwork. So we are super interested to join to not be isolated. So it's one thing. And then later on this year, we saw a couple of players appeared, like BitCloud, and then there was very, I don't know, a little bit something strange happening with this voice.com. It's like some kind of spin-off of Steemit, and they spend tons of money, like millions on this, and they built sort of similar to Steemit, and then they realized that it's not so hypey, and they started building for NFT, like I don't know, marketplace or whatever. Something strange is happening there. But sometimes I receive like email notifications and they check what's happening. Quite interesting. And then we have like Stanley Kulchov from Aave. He's mentioning like we are building something like Twitter-like on Ethereum, whatever. Sometimes we are joining conversations in replies to his tweets. Nobody replies from them, either trying to pretend that they don't see us, or they big enough to not see simple guys like us. But okay, no problem. We are moving.
Fast. Yeah, I know. You guys are building out features super quick. I mean, I know you guys already have a lot of things into place too. So there's a couple other. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I want to add to that real quick. So not related to blockchain, but in regards to like Web2 competitors, they're not actually competitors. A line I said the other day was comparing Subsocial to Facebook is like comparing Polkadot to Ethereum. Like a layer 0 versus a layer 1, it's not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Because Subsocial is like the underlying architecture for social networks.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you guys are the building blocks in a sense, which is cool. Yeah.
There's also a good question that same message about interesting cooperations. For example, from my point of view, currently I'm very interested to integrate with like Remark for NFTs and like unique network for NFTs as well, so that you could include NFTs, even multiple NFTs per post, for example, so people can buy NFTs right from your post and then even mention them in comments. Like super crazy stuff can be there. Then I'm very quite interested in integration with Zeitgeist, because they building this prediction markets. I think it could be quite engaging in general for people, and such as social networks is about engagement and all this dopamine and all this stuff. So I believe that it could be super interesting. Again, imagine like you have this couple of NFTs that you're gonna sell, or you saw that something, and then you create prediction market underneath in the same post, and then you're asking like which NFT will be sold first. Like, oh my god, it's so cool!
I know, exciting.
It's crazy.
Have you talked to him? And you mentioned Remark and Unique, and we had Alexander the other day on an AMA with him. He's a really brilliant guy too, and I know Bruno is really brilliant from Remark. Have you talked to those two guys? Have you talked to any of their team or anything about
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're talking to them. They help us with integrations if something like.
Bruno's actually one of our advisors. So.
Oh, beautiful! Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I know he's such a smart guy. I've watched a few of his videos on Substrate just myself, because I consider I'm a pretty good mobile developer, and I've been doing it for years. I was computer science, but I've been playing with Substrate. I consider myself super junior there, so with Substrate. So I've been watching some of his videos. I know he's done some stuff, and he's very big time in it. So. And then I know Alexander was talking great stuff about his marketplace too. I think he's done a killer job too. Both guys are doing great stuff. So I love the idea of you guys being like kind of helping to further their projects even further. So that's awesome. Cool. And anything else you guys want to speak on real quick before we wrap this up?
We're hiring. If you know how to code in Rust, let us know.
Yeah, people get your resumes out.
I will put the link.
Yeah. What's that? You got the link?
I will put the link if you don't mind.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, just one short link here.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, I think, awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time. I think you guys are an awesome project. Like I said, I'm definitely big time behind you guys, and I'll be ready to support you guys right now. So cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting us.
Thanks for having us.
It was a great time talking to you.
Yeah, great talk. Awesome talk. Thank you guys. Take care.
Yep, see you.
Bye.